Here's what Russia's upside-down media world is like. They claim the train station missile strike in eastern Ukraine was committed by Ukraine, despite all evidence to the contrary. This post from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, parroted by pro-Russian accounts on social media, claims the Kyiv regime wants more of its own civilians to die.
Russians who get their truth from the state media are living in an alternate reality.
Every day, Madeline Roach watches the morning news on Channel 1, a top state-run TV channel in Russia.
The Russian army is portrayed as triumphant, as not sustaining any losses, any casualties, and is certainly not committing any atrocities. Meanwhile, according to the state media, it's the Ukrainian army committing atrocities, killing civilians, sustaining heavy losses, and losing territory to the Russian forces.
They deny, they deflect, and, according to Julia Davis, creator of the Russian Media Monitor, they portray the Russian armed forces as liberators.
They're presenting it like the Ukrainians want them there. They want to be liberated. They have been oppressed by this so-called Nazi government, and they welcome Russia's intervention.
Independent news coverage disproves this. But there is almost none of that left in Russia.
Essentially, journalism has been banned now in Russia.
The Atlantic's Ann Applebaum notes that so many journalists have fled the country.
So the true story of what goes on in Russia is now getting harder and harder to tell.
Russians are thus even more dependent on state-owned TV. CNN's Nick Robertson says.
It's no surprise that so many people are just following along with the Kremlin's lines. It's the easiest thing for them to do. They don't see an alternative. They feel powerless. And it's information that they've been fed year upon year upon year by Putin and by the Soviet leadership back in those days.
The government is creating this sort of hermetically sealed bubble that doesn't allow for information that contradicts the government to enter.
Roche is now writing a daily report for NewsGuard, making a record of the false claims. She says others need to know what it's like.
Russians would have every reason to feel proud based on what they're seeing on the state TV.